I'm Nashua Josh, and this is everything I ate in London. I was in the Big Smoke for 2 days watching my beloved Wigan Athletic, and I thought while I was there I'd do a little food video. And I picked an absolute belter of a weekend weather-wise, as you'll see in a little while. Arrived at London Euston pretty much bang on time, for a change. And while I had a little bit of time to kill before I could check into my hotel, I thought I'd go to Finsbury Park and have a few pints. And obviously take advantage of that glorious sunshine. This was the 12 Pins pub in Finsbury Park. It's an Irish pub that's very popular with Arsenal fans. It's one of the many boozes they stop off at before they go to the Emirates. Right, here we go. First food stop of the day. Stoplight is an authentic Caribbean restaurant and takeaway situated right across the road from Finsbury Park. It serves up all the classic Caribbean favourites. I opted for jerk chicken, rice and peas, and I went for a traditional lamb patty as well. This honestly takes comfort food to a whole new level. That jerk chicken was absolutely amazing. If I'm being honest, I wasn't expecting much from the lamb patty, but the lamb absolutely melted in my mouth. Both the jerk chicken and the lamb patty were absolutely bursting with flavour. Good portion of rice and peas too. And this was just a portion size as well. There was options on the menu for large and small for each item too. I'd love to see what the large and small sizes were like. I've got to give some massive props to the staff behind the counter. They were so friendly and helpful, and they served me with a smile. What more can you ask for? I was actually struggling to finish this, but because it was so good I just felt like I couldn't leave anything on the plate. So, first rating of the day. I think it gets a solid 9 out of 10. Gorgeous food, great staff, and in a great location. Let's go down to the Golden. Now this is easily one of my favourite places to go boozing in London, and even more so when it was absolutely cracking the flags. The place was absolutely booming. I mean, look at all those people. And another one of my favourite pubs in London, the Nag's Head. The White Lion across the road's a good one too. Called in the White Swan as well for a few before I went for my second meal of the day. And I decided, because I've not done one for a while, I'd do a curry review. Now this is the Maharaja of India on Charing Cross. It's literally just round the corner from Leicester Square, and they get the majority of the business from theatre goers who are looking for a quick meal before they take in a show. And Bossman on the front door was certainly giving us a show. He could honestly sell Krypton to Superman, that fella. Even before I went in, he'd already convinced quite a few people to come and have something to eat. He's defo got the gift of the gab, that lad. Sorry for the OCD people out there. Even I'm in agreement there. A bottle of Kingfisher and a Cobra glass doesn't look right, does it? Right, let's get on to the food. My starter was an Indian standard, a classic sheikh kebab. Perfectly marinated lamb topped with onions, peppers and coriander. Some serious flavours were kicking about in my mouth after the first couple of bites. The little pot of sauce that it came with was really good too. It wasn't even an overly spicy sauce. It kind of tasted like a smoky barbecue sauce infused with Indian spices. But whatever it was really nice. And now for the main course. Now if I see one of these on the menu in an Indian restaurant, I've got to have one. A sizzler tandoori dish. Yep, I went for the king prawn sizzler, mushroom rice and a garlic naan. Just building mushroom rice mountain there? The silent video doesn't do it justice. That dish was bubbling away like a volcano. I honestly couldn't wait to sample this. In my opinion, king prawns beat lamb and chicken hands down. I assembled my little masterpiece and it was time to take a bite. Just absolute wow. Juicy king prawns perfectly accompanied by that sizzling sauce. It really doesn't get any better than this. It wasn't too spicy either. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really do like a burn your ass off curry. But I'm of the belief if it's a really hot day outside, you really shouldn't be having a really hot curry. Does that make me sound weird? Ah well, who cares. I really enjoyed this, by the way. Beautiful flavours, and a fragrant foundation that lays the base for some classic Indian cooking methods. Right, let's do the verdict. I came here with some high expectations, and those expectations were most certainly met. So yeah, it gets a solid 9.5 out of 10. That sizzler dish was absolutely fantastic. Didn't even spill anything down my white t-shirt, so winner chicken dinner. Day 1 done and dusted, let's move on to day 2. Here we are on day 2 and it was yet another scorcher. I needed a lining on my stomach, so I called the Parkview Cafe Bar and Bistro for a full English. It was just across the road from my hotel, so perfect location for me really. It doesn't just serve fry-ups, they serve up burgers, paninis, jacket potatoes and even traditional Turkish kebabs. You don't get many of these in a Greasy Spoon cafe in Wigan, do you? How cool are those little milk jugs? Oh, some quirky things knocking around in London. Look at that. Should have asked the fella behind the counter where he got those from. Anyway, back to the food. Yeah, this wasn't the best full English I've ever had. I've got to be brutally honest. It just wasn't for me. I think the only decent things on the plate was the sausages and the hash brown. The hash brown was nice and crispy and the sausages were really good, to be honest. But the things that really let it down were the eggs, the bacon and the mushrooms. The eggs were a little overdone for my liking. The bacon was alright, but it was nothing to write home about, and those mushrooms were just way too hard. I'm only going to give this a 5 out of 10, guys, I'm afraid. Right, here we go, on to Brisbane Road, the home of Leighton Orient. Aside from hopefully seeing Latics pick up 3 points, I was really excited to try the pie and mash here, and I've heard some good things about the scran at Leighton Orient. I went for 1 pie, 2 mash, and the famous liquor. Oh parsley sauce. And I really enjoyed this. The pie had plenty of filling, 2 good dollops of mash, and that liquor was perfectly complemented by some vinegar. Unfortunately, there was no chilli vinegar though. That's one of the main things to pour over your liquor, isn't it? But yeah, I thought that pie was superb. I mean, is it better than a Wigan pie? Obviously not. But it is better than the pie and mash I had in Notting Hill a few months ago. Might be a bit of a bold statement, but it's one I'm standing by. I had to make sure I hurried up and ate this because it was knocking Andrea sick just by looking at it. I think I'll give that a 7 out of 10. Right, and now for the depressing part. I've seen some pretty dross games over the course of this season, but I think this one is number 1. Couldn't knock the conditions though, and we were sat in a proper good little sun trap too. Perfect conditions to watch a fantastic game of football. Well, that's the dream, isn't it? How Leyton Orient didn't win this game is beyond me. They had so many shots, and we only had 1. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that correctly. 1 solitary shot all game. And it wasn't even on target. It was just an awful game of football. I'll quite happily go on record and say I've had more fun and enjoyment at a Sunday League game. Bet them two were roasting. There was quite a good atmosphere in the home end, even though they started chanting Premier League and you effed it up at us. I just couldn't wait for this game to be over. Just dross from both sides. There were times in that second half where I thought Leyton Orient were going to get a goal, but luckily for us, their poor finishing gave us the valuable point that we needed. Full time at Brisbane Road and it finished Leyton Orient 0, Wigan Athletic 0. Yeah, it just was not a great game of football to watch. A class touch from Williamson though, giving little Josh Metcalf his match-worn jersey. Well in Will. On another day, we probably lose those by 3 or 4 goals. I'm just so thankful we weren't playing Birmingham, so I'd happily take a draw all day. Leyton is a proper quirky little town. Thought I'd take a sunny little stroll through the Coronation Gardens and take in the beautiful sunny conditions. I got chatting to a few Leyton Orient fans on the way back, and they honestly saw that as a missed opportunity. And I can't blame them because we were absolutely terrible. I thought I'd go back to the pub where it all started for me on this weekend. Let's have a sesh at the 12 Pins. This gaff had some absolute bangers playing on the jukebox. Took me back to the days of being a little mosher. Ale and Anthem, Papa Roach, Sum 41, you name it, they played it. I was now in the mood for some fast food, and this is Manny Kebab House. I was torn between either this place or the fried chicken gaff next door. Played a little game of eeny meeny miny mo, and I decided on this gaff. Smelling that chicken shawarma instantly tempted my nostrils, so I went for a doner and shawarma wrap, a chicken tower burger, and just 1 piece of fried chicken. Couldn't wait to get back to my hotel room because the temperature proper dropped. Nice little touch from these guys, they threw in a free chicken wing for me as well. Boss man doing bits. And I didn't even ask for fries, but they gave me some. All of this looks so tasty and I couldn't wait to get stuck in. I started with the piece of fried chicken, and I can honestly say I've had much better. Found it a little bit too dry for my liking. If it isn't greasy finger licking chicken, I just don't want to know. So yeah, we'll just skip that. Next up was the chicken tower burger. This was actually not too bad. It had a good crisp to it and plentiful dollops of some garlic mayo. And they also threw some red cabbage on. Banger of a burger. And last but definitely not least was the doner and shawarma wrap. Look at the size of that thing. It was packed tightly with plenty of juicy doner meat, smoky shawarma and more lashings of that garlic mayo. And no, before you ask, I didn't eat it all. I think I'll give this place a generous 6.8 out of 10. The fried chicken wasn't for me, the chicken burger was okay, but the star of the show was definitely that doner and shawarma wrap. Right, time for bed. So that was everything I ate in London, and it's time to give my debit card a well-deserved break. This is definitely going to be my last blowout for a while. So until next time guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Cheers.